Hello there, Jets World. This is the Jets Show, and I'm your host, Show. And we have an excellent special guest today, and he goes by the name Gunny. I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. He's been very familiar, very popular with the Jets and the Jets community. Um, you guys can also follow him at the
New York Jets situation report.
New York Jets situation report. And man, we're gonna just jump right into it, man. So first of
Let's
all,
do it.
Gunny, can you introduce yourself, man? I guess just let the
Yeah,
guys and the people know how long you've been a Jets fan and what made you become a Jets fan, no matter what we've been
yeah.
through.
I feel you, brother. If easy day, man. So for me, man, I've been a Jets fan since 1998, man. I remember
Okay.
my first. So I was originally born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. So I wasn't really familiar with football until many, many years into my life. Right, I was born in '84. Saw my first football game. I kid you not, 1998.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, I was at my boy's house in Pemberton, New Jersey, and
Okay.
his whole family, man, they were Giants fans, bro. And it was the Jets
Mm.
versus the Bills. So they, of course, had their own thought process about the Jets being the little brothers, and they were the real team of New York because they had
Hmm.
more of a winning lineage than the Jets did, obviously. So
True.
like Vinny Testaverde, man, threw an interception first play of the game, and everybody in the house, bro, started laughing and talking about how we called it, blah blah blah. And I don't know, man. I guess I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the underdog story. And I said, well, the game just started, right? Y'all said it's 4 quarters. They can still come back and win it. And they're all
Hmm.
saying like it's not possible. And I was just like, I think they're gonna come back and win this game. I'm gonna root for those guys to win the game. And they all
Right.
said, okay, whatever. You want to pick your poison, so be it. The Jets came back and won the game, bro. Like at the end of the
Hmm.
day, like Keyshawn Johnson balled out that day. Curtis Martin balled
Yes.
out that day. They came
Yes.
back, won the game.
Hmm.
And yeah, for me, it was love at first sight, dog. At that point, it was decided. I was a Jets fan. Like they proved me right during my first time watching the game, and I've been rooting for them ever since, man, since '98. So
Yes, sir.
uh, it's crazy, man, because like I've been in the military for I was in the military for about 13 years. Got out a couple years ago,
Hmm.
and I've been always talked about wanting to go ahead and just get on YouTube and whatnot and just kind of share my thoughts on football, fantasy football, etc. Never did
Yes.
it, you know what I'm saying? Like until you actually do it, man, it seems very, very like astronomical to just get in front of a camera and just talk, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I agree.
So um yeah, I did it for about 3 months ago. I said, you know what, forget it. I want to do it. I want to go ahead and talk about this upcoming season. We had an incredible draft.
Hmm.
And I wanted to share my thoughts with fellow Jets fans, man. And the channel's been seeing some good success ever since. So I've been in the YouTube content creator world since about March timeframe, right before the actual NFL draft kicked off.
Okay. Okay. Well, me myself, bro, I've been a Jets fan since about maybe roughly 2000, maybe 2001.
Okay. Okay.
But the crazy thing about me, so I'm from Memphis, Tennessee originally. I
Ooh. All
moved to
right.
California about 5 years ago. And man, the brutal part on my end, dude, was two things. First of all, the laughter. Why in that crap are you a Jets fan? Like, how do you
Yeah.
like? There's so many other teams, you could choose from.
You gotta
Why
choose.
the Jets? And my story is very, very similar to yours. I've
Mhm.
always rode with the underdogs. Like, I love an underdog story, and
Yep.
that was just the team for me. Like, it just fit. And being in Tennessee, man, it was hard to catch games, because we didn't have all the apps and things that we have now,
Yeah, nah.
like
Not
back
like
in
now.
2000. So I'm in
Yeah.
Tennessee. So it was rare that I got to see a Jets game actually. But, whenever I could catch it, man, I was definitely there. I was definitely watching it. And being honest, Gunny, right to this very day, I have never been to MetLife Stadium.
Bro, you're
Never.
missing out.
I went to see the Jets play the Titans years back, but of course
Uh-huh.
that was in Nashville. And
Okay.
we were supposed to go last year. My wife surprised me and she bought me the last game of the season last season,
Right, right.
which was
Yeah.
against Buffalo. But we
Oof.
didn't go due to COVID issues. And I
Yep.
was like, man,
Traveling
but
was
even
difficult.
though it wasn't at MetLife, at least I'd have been in New York.
You
But
were
yeah,
in New
so we
York.
didn't go. We end up giving the tickets away, man. But yeah, so
Oh,
I've been
bro.
a Jets fan now for about roughly 20 years. And like you say, man, just going for the underdog, it's just that pride moment whenever we
Yeah.
turn this thing around. Like I told you, like I just couldn't
I've
wait to
yep.
rub it in
I've
their
been here.
faces.
I've been here when we sucked. I've been here when we sucked, and now we're turning it around. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great to start fucking
Yes,
popping back. It's gonna be amazing.
absolutely. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. All right. So I have another question for you, my man.
What's good? What's good?
Thoughts on our coaching staff? Head coach,
Okay.
offensive coordinator, defense coordinator. Give me your thoughts.
Okay. All right, all right. I've been pretty vocal, man, about how I feel about Coach Sala.
Hmm.
And a lot of it for me is that he's a leader of men.
Yes.
Having been in the military, man, I've had the pleasure of working with amazing leaders and real crappy leaders, right? And I've seen
Right.
how one individual can impact a core group of men and women to excel and elevate themselves, or to go ahead and just like regress and just do the bare minimum, right? And
Right.
in the Marine Corps, man, like you always want to go ahead and find motivation and find ways to push yourself to be the best. So Adam Gase to me was the very definition of a crap leader, bro. Somebody who
Yes.
you can bring into the organization and they just suck the morale, suck the joy out of wanting to be there, wanting to play there. We saw it in Jamal Adams, Marcus May, like those guys. After they encountered Adam Gase, they were just done, bro, ready to move on.
Hmm.
And Coach Sala is the complete opposite of that, man. A 180. I think Coach Sala is a
Yes.
leader of men. Now, he's new to the game, man. A lot of people are, I think, short with Coach Sala because we're in that generation of we want to see immediate results, and I'm a fan of saying I want to see my guys win now too. But
Right.
when you logically
Right.
step back, man, and take a look at what Coach Sala took over last year, this is really year one of him being able to say, okay, he's had his hands on the roster being built, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I think that the simple fact that the team has rallied around him in fashion the way that they have, right? Especially in this past game, it shows that that leadership aspect of being a leader of men is starting to go ahead and impact the players, the change of
Right.
culture. I'm a
Right.
believer in the leadership piece. I don't know if Coach Sala right now has the tactician aspect down yet. He still has to work on that and cultivate that skill set. But in terms
Hmm.
of leading those guys, motivating those guys to bring their A game every day, I believe Coach Sala is the real deal. And for that,
Yes.
I want to see him get a couple more years to legitimately have this roster, like molded and his hands all over it to go ahead and
Hmm.
see how much he can go ahead and turn things around. I'm a big fan of Coach Sala.
Yes, I
Mike
am
LaFleur.
too.
LaFleur is another one, bro. Like when I think last year when we got him, bringing that Kyle Shanahan type of offense into the Jets, I was very excited about it. We've
Hmm.
seen how that offense is a high scoring, quarterback friendly. It can literally impact and change, a core group of players when it's implemented correctly. And I
Correct.
think last year he started off slow, right, being on the sideline, and we were all wondering like, oh, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't
Right.
understand the Shanahan offense. This is not what we thought we were going to be getting. But then he moved up to the booth, man, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. His play calling improved dramatically in a very short time frame. Um,
Right.
and
Hence the
all
name Mike
indications
LaBooth.
Mike LeBrew, but we got to keep him up
Right.
there. So I fell in love with Mike LaFleur, after he went up to the booth and we started seeing him get creative. I guess being able to see the field from, that high up, from, however many
Right.
thousands of feet up in the air has allowed him to be more creative in his play calling. He can see the field better. So I am also a fan of Mike LaFleur. I think
Hmm.
that he's one of those individuals that I think if the offense continues to progress, he'll be a head coach in the NFL here in the next couple of years,
Absolutely.
which would be a
Absolutely.
great problem for us to have as Jets fans, to have our
Right.
OC be like taken from us to be a head coach. So
Hmm.
so that's something that I think very well, like as long as the progression continues in the right direction, we'll see happening. Now,
Uh-oh.
let's get to
Uh-oh. Drum roll.
Jeff Ulbrich. Okay, so with Ulbrich, man, so I was one of those guys who hated his guts last year, right? Even though I
Hmm.
said, hey, with Coach Sala, you got to go ahead and give him time. With freaking Coach LaFleur, you got to give him time. I hated his guts because he was in the role before as a defensive coordinator. It's not as if he
Hmm.
was coming to be our defensive coordinator and never haven't had that experience. So for me, I think my fuse with him was a little bit shorter, and it still is. Right now, we have the second or third highest paid defensive line, and we have 2 sacks to our name. Right, I think
Yes.
31st in the league right now, and that's just insane to me. That
Hmm.
there's that much talent across the defensive line. It's a defensive scheme that yes, Coach Sala believes in, but he's entrusted Ulbrich to go ahead and implement. And I don't know,
Yes.
man, if he's got it. I just don't know if he's got it. So with me, I think I've become more patient because I do believe last year he was working with, scrapyard
Guys
players,
off
right?
the
Like
streets.
saying off the streets, bro, insurance
Right.
salesmen that were playing freaking football in the NFL. So
Right.
I think this year coming in, he hasn't shown me enough, right, in the preseason or currently in the regular season. That makes me
Hmm.
believe, like, okay, this guy understands how this cover two scheme is supposed to work and get to the quarterback because our guys haven't gone to the quarterback,
Right.
and that to me is making things kind of questionable. So for me, he's the person right now that I look at. He came in with that defensive coordinator experience,
Hmm.
and we've given him the tools and the weapons, and we're sitting here looking at this defensive line where unanimously across the board, everybody knows we've got talent there. but we're not
Yes.
seeing them
Yes.
get to the quarterback. So that's extremely frustrating. So with Jeff Ulbrich, with him, man, I would say that I'm a little bit down on him. I think if
Hmm.
you told me we had to fire somebody right now for the Jets being the 30th ranked defense in the NFL, obviously Ulbrich's got to go. That'd be my
Yes.
mindset. Even though I know Coach Salah's hand is all over the defensive scheme, I think the implementation piece right now is falling short on Ulbrich's end. And
Yes.
and I think he's right now our weak link when it comes to that coaching room.
I agree. I'm high on Salah. Um, I'm pretty much high on Mike LaFleur as well. Ulbrich, if I'm saying last season, we started off pretty good, decent. Maybe the first couple of games on defense, and you know how everybody want to, for lack of a better term, cut off Mike LaFleur's head.
Yeah.
You know, it was the opposite at the end of the season. It's like everybody loved Mike LaFleur, but we all hated Ulrich. You know, I think the Ravens game this year, week 1, we were kind of like, okay, this
Yeah.
defense may be able to do something.
Yeah.
But I think that even though we won against the Browns, I still feel as though the defense
didn't
showed
do anything
similarities of last season. You know,
of last
getting
year. Yes.
right. You
The
know,
screen pass
the
killed us.
screen
We couldn't
calling. It
stop the
was just
run. It was bad, man. Like
exactly.
offense,
So at that
offense and
point, I was
special
telling my
teams won us
son, I'm
that
like,
game on Sunday.
I'm really worried about this defense, man. Like I was expecting
Yep.
a big blast from Carl Lawson,
Yep.
Quentin Williams, and I'm just not seeing that superstar quality within those guys. Now they could tell those
No.
guys, hey, they're going to run. So let's not be so aggressive. Let's kind of tone it down a little bit so we can, you know, stop the run, et cetera, et cetera. But if that was the case, they really
Hey,
didn't do a good job at stopping the runs against the Browns. Ravens, yes.
Hey, Show.
But the
Real quick,
Browns,
man. I gotta ask you a
yeah.
question, Show. You got Green
Okay.
Bean Jets fan in your chat right now, bro. Hey, Green
Green
Bean
Bean
is
is
a
the man,
legend
dude.
in the game, bro. And I just saw it pop. I
Green
was like, "Is
Bean
that
is
Green
the
Bean?"
man, dude.
Oh, bro. I got to meet him, dog. I got to meet Green Bean at his Coney Island event. When I went to go see the opening day, right?
Right?
Freaking awesome dude, man. Like you see him on his channel. I've been watching Green Bean for years, bro. You see
Yes,
him on
me
your
too.
channel, you think like, man, like larger than life kind of guy. The most down to earth, passionate Jets fan like I've ever encountered, bro. Like he made it easy to interact with him. Hey, what up, Green Bean? I just saw that, man. I saw you pop in. I had to go ahead and say something. My bad, Show. I just saw
I
him, bro. I
love it,
had to say
man. I
something to
love it.
Green Bean.
You know what though, Gunny? Being honest, I inboxed or DM Green Bean months ago, and I told him, I said, dude, you really are the inspiration and the reason why I wanted a YouTube channel. Like
Same
I
here,
think it was
100%.
Green
Same here.
Beans first, and I think it
Matt
was
O'Leary,
Tyson next.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
It was for me. It was Green Bean, Matt O'Leary, and then Buffalo Jets fan. Watching those
Yeah,
guys, I
Buffalo.
was like,
Yeah,
all
Buffalo's
right,
pretty cool guy,
Buffalo
man.
Jet fan, bro.
I've
I was
spoken to
like,
him
okay,
probably a couple times too. Yeah,
yep.
he's a super cool guy, man.
Real great guys, man. Great guys. And I got to meet all those guys at the
Oh,
opening day. It was awesome.
I want to be there
It was
so
awesome,
bad,
bro.
man, so bad. But you know, I told you my wife and I, our youngest child, she's 2, and it's just my wife really doesn't trust anybody to watch her right now. So
yep, my wife was the same way when our kids were young. Trust me, I get it. In fact, it would have never happened if my brother and my sister wasn't here. We would have never left our kids with just anybody else. My sister lives in Texas.
My wife,
my brother,
and that's her first daughter, so she is like, right, all boys prior to her. She's the youngest. She's the baby. She's the girl. My wife will not let anyone watch her. So I just said, you know what, baby? I said, we'll just catch another game. When you know, maybe we can just take her with her. And we were thinking about bringing my sister-in-law. She's about 23 now. We were thinking about just bringing her, and she can just watch the baby, you know, at the hotel, and then we can just go enjoy ourselves, tailgating and at the game.
You got to do it, bro.
Yeah, so that's the plan now moving forward. So we're thinking about going to the the first New England home game. Ooh, that's the one we're looking at right now. So more than likely, I'm about 80% sure that we'll be there.
Okay.
All right. What's up, Green Bean?
Green Bean. Love you too, bro. Love you too, Green Bean.
Right. All love, man. All love, man. Always. Gunny, you said you had a question for me?
Yeah. What you got? Okay. So in terms of like when you saw this off season like kind of like develop, for me, I know I went over the moon as we were looking at like the talent coming in, analyzing some of the skill players we just added to the roster. I'm a big believer at this year. Maybe it was our year for the Cinderella year that we saw the Bengals pull off last year. This could be our year pulling it off. So what is your like thought process on where we should be at as an organization this year?
If not 500, right at it. You know what I mean? Like, because the talent is there. We have talent to
very much so.
To like Robert Saleh and And Joe Douglas says, and I agree, it starts in the
Mhm.
trenches. And when you look at our trenches, versus, offense and defense, we have talent there, man, to dominate
Yeah,
or to at least be
facts.
very productive. So with that being
Agreed.
said, it kind of spills out from there, right? So you look at our linebacking core, which is okay if I had to guess at it. I think that signing with Quan Alexander, like I was so elated with that one. I was like, there we go. Like that's adding a little more depth that we need. You know what I mean? As far as our DBs, our corners, I love it. I absolutely love it. And
Yes,
I'm a big fan
I'm a
of,
fan.
of I know many are not, but I'm a big fan of Mr. Bryce Hall.
So
I
am I,
just
bro.
am.
So
Like
am
even
I.
the
I
touchdown that
am.
he gave up against Baltimore, like his
It was
coverage
great
was
coverage.
extremely
It was
tight.
great coverage. I don't, what
Right.
the
It's
only
just
way
a
he stops that is a pass interference. That is the only way he
right.
stops that. If he was to pass interfere.
Right, man. So but free safeties, I love Jordan Whitehead. It's just Joyner, man.
Yep.
Joyner.
That's about it. After
God,
that, the
dude.
safety position, bro. We're oof.
Yeah.
But every now and
Yeah.
again, you got to have a couple of Jags, right? A couple of Jags, just another guy that's on the roster. You're
Right.
not going to have a team full of Pro Bowlers,
That's
and
true.
that's what I keep telling myself. Like, man, like you can't expect to have Pro Bowlers at every level. Sometimes you're going to have a
Right.
Jag, i.e., just another guy. And I think Joyner's just another guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Adams is promising. I like Adams a lot. He's very promising.
Yes.
I'm not gonna
Yes.
lie to you, man. I know Parks is a journeyman, but I enjoyed seeing him play in the preseason. But maybe it's just the optimistic Jets fan in me, bro. Like I like what I saw in Parks in the preseason.
Yes. Yes. Actually, I prefer if Parks was starting over Joyner. I'm being honest.
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
I agree with you
I'm the
100%.
same way. I am the same way, bro. The same exact way. Like I'm watching Joyner in the first game against the Ravens. There's so many blown coverages, dude, and I'm losing my mind. Like, what? Why is this guy in the game, dude? Like, maybe
I
put
don't
Ashton
understand it.
Davis in.
At that
You know
point,
what I
at least
mean?
he's a
Like,
ball hawk.
God, this is
At least he's a
awful.
ball hawk. He makes plays with the ball.
Right.
So I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Do you know how to put the comments on your screen, bro? Because Green Bean's giving us some good stuff here.
Let's see here.
Yeah, he got the LaFleur is good in my opinion. I like that a lot. Boom, there you go. Start putting those on there because
Yes,
that's good
sir.
stuff.
Yes, sir. All right, Green Bean. LaFleur is good, in my opinion.
Yeah,
He will still get better, too. I agree. Look
I
how many
agree.
times he schemed dudes open and Flacco missed him. Yeah, that is so
Hundred
true, man.
percent,
That
bro.
is so true.
That all 22 aspect that NFL Plus just came out with, I think is like the worst mistake the NFL could have done because it allows us as avid fans who watch the game as religiously as we do to be able to
Right.
see everything from beginning
You
from
pick it
each
apart,
beginning of the
right?
play to the end, and we pick it apart. Man, Elijah
Yes.
Moore, Garrett Wilson getting open at will to
Open.
me, and I'm like, man.
Mhm.
First of all, nobody can stop those guys thus far, as per
Nope.
watching the all 22 film. But you
Mhm.
see Joe Flacco missing those guys, and 100% Green Bean. You're right. I think that
Right.
LaFleur right now is doing a great job because both top wide receivers are getting open at will.
Yes, I agree. Actually, man, Corey Davis is really not looking that bad either.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Him too.
Being honest.
But
Right.
he's
And
been more of that
out.
contested catch guy. Like, because you've seen
Yeah.
like, he's not creating a ton of separation, but
Yes.
you put it within his radius, he's making a play on the ball, which you got to respect about Corey Davis. I'm just saying, like, in
absolutely.
terms of what Green Bean said about like scheming guys open, it's just
Mhm.
disgusting how you see freaking Elijah Moore and freaking Garrett Wilson get open like immediately. It's just
Mhm.
I could hit that pass. I'm like, oh, I could have made that pass and caught that guy, right? Like, bruh. I think once Zach Wilson gets back, I think he's gonna feast, man. I really do, because this year he's gonna actually have weapons. As long as he can continue to show us that he's freaking Zach Wilson from post-injury last year. Now he has more yak weapons to get the ball into these guys who can go ahead and create after the catch. Oh my God, man. I can't wait.
Right.
I can't wait to see Zach operate.
Question. So if Zach Wilson was healthy week 1, what is the outcome?
We win. 100%.
I think so too. Yeah.
100%.
I think so too.
There
The
were
mobility, the
so many
arm.
missed. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
Like the
offensive
run
line,
that Joe Flacco
obviously,
did to the sideline.
bruh, and we lost the
dude,
yard.
what is
We
this?
lost the yard when he ran. And we were all sitting next together, like we're all like, oh my God, he ran. How many yards is that? We all thought it looked positive from our angle, right? Being in the hangar. And then we all look up at the scoreboard, and I was like, wait a minute, we 2 and 16. We lost yards on that? It was kind of shocking.
Flacco.
It looked like,
yes.
man, that was bad. If Zach Wilson played week 1, our defense played so good that I do believe that yes, we win that game. We win that game.
I think so too. I absolutely think so too. And I don't know what happened to Fant that game, man. Fant and Thomas. I'm like, dude.
Yo,
And
they
going
got
in the
eaten
game, I
alive.
was worried about Max Mitchell. I was like, oh
Same
God, we
here.
have a rookie.
And he held his own.
And he held his own, dude. Held his own, man. It was like completely the opposite of what I thought. I was like, well, there goes me knowing stuff about football.
Same here.
Right? I'm
Look, I
coming in
was
the
like, all
game
right,
like, okay, we have Fant and we have Thomas and we have AVT and we have Mac right there at center. And I'm like, the question mark is
here's
Max
Mitchell.
Mitchell. And
And
surprisingly,
nope,
man, he did a wonderful
he did his
job, man, to
thing.
be a
Yep.
rookie, getting thrown
Yep.
in against an aggressive defense from the Ravens, man. That was absolutely wonderful. So yeah, I'm excited to watch Max Mitchell moving forward, man. I think
Yes,
he
as am
held
I.
his own against Clowney week 2. So let's just see what he do in week 3 against the Bengals,
Yep.
which in my opinion, their defensive line is okay. I think what they have the one superstar was his name. God, I can't
Hendrickson.
think of his name. Yeah,
Hendrickson. Yep.
Hendricks. Yes, Hendricks.
Edge got, yeah, Hendricks. My bad. That dude is who I'm
Right.
worried about. 24 sacks in the last 2 years. That's a guy that can get
Right.
after the quarterback. So he's somebody that I am
Absolutely,
concerned
man.
about. I will not lie.
Absolutely. All right. So, Gunny, tell me your honest feelings about the Browns game in the fourth quarter. Before we were up, before we were winning, how are you feeling when we were down 13 points? What was your gut feeling
Like
saying to you?
every other Jets fan, we lost. We lost. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I'm not gonna pretend like I saw that and I thought to myself, "Oh, we're still in it. We're gonna come back." No, I saw Nick Chubb score and I was like, "We couldn't stop a fucking nosebleed." And
Mm-hmm.
I immediately like switched my TV from watching purely the Jets game to watching. I had all 4 games going, watching every AFC East team, watching the
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins and the freaking Patriots play, and it was making it worse because the Dolphins started to come back on the Ravens, and I sat here in the
Yes.
same chair, bro, watched mad as hell. Like, I cannot believe we are going to get beat at Keebler Elf Stadium. And it wasn't even, it's just embarrassing. We couldn't stop them. The rush, they ran on us like at will. It was frustrating. So
Yeah.
frustrating.
Absolutely.
It wasn't until like I saw, like, I was watching all 4 games and then the Corey Davis freaking long
Busted
touchdown
defensive
pass.
play.
Yeah,
Yes.
busted defense. I was just like, hold on now, wait a minute. Okay, let me go ahead and put the Jets back on real quick because that it was 1 minute and some change left. I was like, we just got the touchdown. You get an onside kick, man. It's a different story. And from there on, well, you know the rest, bro. At that point, when we got the onside kick, then I said to myself, okay, yeah, we're gonna win this game because the
Yeah.
football gods
Yeah.
believe we have paid enough. We have paid
Mm-hmm.
enough because if we
Mm-hmm.
get the onside kick right now with the current rules, how difficult it is to happen. It was a 0.01% chance of that comeback being feasible. That's when I
Mm-hmm.
started saying like, oh my God, we can win this game. We can actually win this game. And I got glued to the TV, bro. I couldn't move. I couldn't move from
Right. I saw your reaction, man, when you posted on Twitter, man. It was
there.
hilarious. And the reason why it was so funny to me is because if I had footage, our celebrations, our energy probably matched
Similar.
equally. Yeah, I went through the house crazy. Like I
Bruh.
was all over the place, man. I could not
You know what's
believe it,
funny?
dude.
Jets Chaos just walked in, right? So watching Green Bean and Jets Chaos video of their reaction, bro. And it was if you watch their video of watching that game, it literally speaks to the ebbs and flows, the roller coaster of emotions Jets fans go through during that game. Because at one point, both of them are like, man, Salah, man, he couldn't coach a note. Like everybody was saying that. I was saying it, but they were live doing it. And I gave y'all props,
Right.
man. Green Bean and Chaos, y'all next level, bro, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't get on live because my emotions, I wear them on my sleeve. And the things people would see would they look at me like, man, this is a pessimistic Jets fan. Like, because I was brutal in that whole fourth quarter. I was brutal in regards to like how sad we looked. And then seeing those guys do it live, they're ballsy, do it live, and then seeing their freaking reactions as it shifted, bro. Oh my God, freaking priceless. My wife was like, "This is why you should do lives when you're watching the games because you've watched the Green Bean and Jets, the Green Bean like live stream, and you're like, wow, I felt exactly what they were going to. Like, imagine if you did that and your subs could go ahead and feel exactly what you're going to. But it was my daughter and my wife, bro, who thought, let's pull the freaking security footage. My daughter actually, if you look back at the video. My youngest daughter, when I came out screaming, I had to run back into my office to find my phone because I was like, man, I got to get some content for my reaction.
Right.
And my daughter was just like, Mama, can you pull the security camera? Because we're always threatening them with like the security camera when they don't do their chores and stuff. So like she immediately turned to her mama like, pull the security camera. I want to see Dad's reaction again. And then she pulled it, sent it to my family members, and then they were all like, LOLing. And I'm like, wow, this was really good. And my wife's like, you might want to post that. I'm like, it's got our house all in the video. Like, there's no like audio. Like, I can't freaking clean this up. And she goes, I'd post it. And by far, it's probably my most viewed video
No
on Twitter,
way.
Instagram. I kid you not. On Instagram, Twitter, and on freaking YouTube Shorts. That video of my wife and my daughter pulling it from the security feed is my most watched video, like by far.
Wow, that's
And
amazing, dude.
bruh, I gotta tell you, if you had the a security cam in the house or whatnot, Doug, like that's gold. Like the wife said, it's gold content, and I put it out there, and I've got nothing but love for it. Oh,
Right,
Greeny just
right.
asked us a question. I just saw that. Greeny asked us a question.
Yeah, you guys buying this David trade talk? They, I'm not. Being honest, Green Bean, I am not buying it, dude.
No,
I think
I
they're going to
agree.
keep David. I
Yep.
think so. What do you think, Gunny?
I agree. I don't think, because you got to look at it this way. We've got a very young core in terms of the wide receiver room. Corey
Mm-hmm.
Davis provides a whole element that is different from what an Elijah Moore and a Garrett Wilson provides. I get it. Garrett Wilson balled out, you know what I'm saying, week 2. Elijah Moore, we already know is a dog. He's going to perform.
Mm-hmm.
But Corey Davis is that veteran presence in that locker room, and I think that's invaluable. Denzel Mims, I think right now, man, he's a question mark, like huge question mark, because I'm a believer in Denzel Mims. But it's one thing to believe it because he's got all the athletic and like the tangible skill sets. It's
Mm-hmm.
the intangibles that right now we're all kind of like up in the air trying to figure out like exactly what he's about. So I wouldn't try that wide receiver room right now, man. I think we're in a great position. We're in a great
We
position.
are. Yes.
Why trade Corey Davis away for a freaking what, a 4th rounder?
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay. If somebody comes out with like a 2nd rounder, maybe a 3rd rounder, I think then I'm like, all right.
That's when Trader
would
Joe kicks in, right?
That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to really
Right.
put that GM hat on and be like, man, 2nd or a 3rd, that's different. But anything other than that, man, I just think he brings way too much value to that wide receiver room. And we have him under contract for 2 more years. Granted, we could release him next year and it doesn't cost us anything. But at $16 million right now, we're not paying anybody else. Well, we're going to be paying Q most likely at the end of this season. But in terms of on the offensive side of the ball, who else are we paying? Like,
Right.
who else are we paying? And at $16 million, that's a bargain in comparison to what we've seen some lesser wide receivers go for. So I doubt very much they trade those guys. I doubt very much they trade Corey Davis.
I agree. And I'm also thinking along the lines of injury, right? Let's say if Corey Davis does get traded, right? So with your number 3 will be what, Braxton Berrios and
Braxton Berrios,
Jeff
then
Smith,
Denzel Mims,
right? You know what I mean?
Mims,
And they're not even playing Mims, you know? So
no,
me personally,
inactive.
as of right now, he hasn't taken a snap yet. So my mind is like, they're not even going to play this guy right now.
No.
So even with injury, I don't even know if they will play him or not. So I would just keep Corey Davis around because of his productivity and also just because of depth. You know what I mean? Like if somebody goes down, let's say if Elijah Moore goes down, well, at least you still, you have Corey Davis, and then you have Wilson and you also Berrios, So if you get rid of Corey Davis and let's say Corey Davis is traded and let's say, God forbid, Garrett Wilson becomes injured. Look at your wide receiver core,
now
at that point. So this season, I would definitely not trade him.
Nope. That's another weapon that can help us analyze even further what Zach Wilson's going to be. And I don't think we risk that for anything. It's not worth, you know what I'm saying? Again, 2nd or 3rd, depending on the team that's offering it to us, that could be a high 2nd, high 3rd. That's invaluable, right? But in all actuality, I think the most valuable piece right now is for us to see who Zach Wilson is. And the last thing we want to hear next about it at the end of this year, oh man, freaking Garrett Wilson got hurt, so he was throwing to freaking Braxton Berrios and Elijah Moore and Jeff Smith, right? We don't want to make excuses for Zach this year. Last year we saw progression, but we were still like, man, like we saw progression, but it wasn't a lot, right? But he was also throwing to used car salesman, so like that's different. I want to know by the end of this year, like, yeah, we got our guy, or we might not have our guy.
We don't have our guy.
I do believe Zach Wilson has that skill set to be the guy.
Right. I agree. What's up, Jeremy? Mr. Jeremy from Jets Chaos.
Chaos, man. I love Chaos, bro. He wild. That dude is wild.
Yeah. I love watching him, man.
Bro, best intros ever, bro. Like, best intros ever when it comes to his live streams, dog.
Oh, dude. Yes. Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. Okay, my man. So thoughts on tomorrow's game versus the Bengals. This is a part 2 question. Thoughts on tomorrow's game versus the Bengals. If Joe Cool keeps his winning streak going, do we keep him in or do we put Zach in? And it's kind of like a part A, B, and C. So if we put Zach in and Zach sucks the first 2 games, then where are we at? Your opinions.
Okay. So one, no matter if Zach Wilson was healthy tomorrow, I want Zach Wilson playing. Even though we got
Mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco is the third passing leader in the NFL right now, I still want Zach Wilson in. No matter what, man, Joe Flacco can only take us so far. Zach Wilson, we need to know, is this our guy or is he not our guy? Because there's a lot of talent on this roster. The
Mm-hmm.
only real major question mark that can whether we can only freaking fly or die based off of what Zach is. So
True.
for me, yeah, man, he's healthy. Put him in. Put the kid in. And we need to know.
Okay.
Because we're competing with the likes of Josh Allen, right? The Lamar
Mm-hmm.
Jacksons, the Joe
Mm-hmm.
Burrows, the Justin Herberts, bro, like Patrick Mahomes. We're in the AFC, and
Yes.
game managers aren't winning Super Bowls in the AFC. You need freaking
Mm-hmm.
lights out quarterbacks, and although Zach has the capability, we won't know until we know. So for me,
Right.
as much as it's hard to say, like, well, what if Joe goes freaking 3-1 in this stretch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like we're
Mm-hmm.
officially like now we're considered a potential playoff favorite team because once you win 3 games, right, like in the first part of the year, it's like a 70-something% chance that you're now potentially making the playoffs.
Right.
We still need to see what Zach Wilson is, man. We'll see.
I agree.
Because honestly, if Zach Wilson is half the player we think he is, he can still continue to win. You know what I'm saying? You know, like Joe Flacco is, even that's half the
Right.
capacity of what he can bring to the table. And we need to know that. So for me, I think no matter what, man, Zach needs to play. And even if we go 3-0, even if we go 4, whatever, 4, it doesn't matter. Zach needs to play. And
Mm-hmm.
if he does start to struggle, you can't pull him. You can't pull him.
Yeah,
Like
you can't pull a guy that you drafted,
number
2
2
seasons
overall,
ago
bro.
at number 2, man. You
No,
cannot
bro,
pull
you
him,
can't do
man.
it. You have got to ride with him, and it's a ride or die thing. Whether he succeeds or not, we will know. But you know what though? If he starts to die, it's gonna be like, man, Joe Flacco had the team 3-1. Zach gets in there, and then we freaking lost 7 or 8 or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to know to be able to legitimately be able to state that at the end of the season. And for me, there's nothing more important than that in terms of the development of this roster.
I agree. Jeremy said he needs to see your footage from your
I'll
house,
send it to you,
man.
Jeremy. I send it to you. I mean, it's all over. It's all over freaking like Twitter.
Yeah, I saw it on
I'll send
Twitter.
it to you directly. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it
I'll
via
send it to you,
Twitter.
Jeremy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he met my wife too while we were at Coney Island. Actually, Green Bean and Jessica has met the wife. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, just if y'all didn't hear it before, like Jessica's responsible for pulling that footage, bro, and like me going viral. Like she was the one. You want to say something? Jessica wants to say she's the best real quick because she needs her credit.
I'm the best. You're welcome. You're welcome, Jets fans. You're welcome.
She needs her credit, bro. She's all about getting her credit, bro.
Oh man, that's
but
amazing.
yeah.
Hey,
Otherwise, I would have never pulled. Green Bean says hi, baby.
Hey.
Otherwise, I would have never pulled that content, bro, and put it out there.
My wife on the same thing, and she's super adorable.
Yeah, so my wife wanted to tell you, Green Bean, if you can hear her, like she saw your wife when the Jets did the montage of all the reactions. So she saw your wife and she thought she was freaking adorable. And she also saw that Instagram post that you guys for the jersey. He did an awesome little montage on Instagram. Him and going back and forth with his wife, bro. I laughed my ass off so much. I shared that thing like
I did too, man.
to everybody that I know. So Jessica says, "What's up, Green Bean? Thought your wife was awesome." Yeah, now my kids are like, "Oh,
hey, Gunny, your wife. I think I saw she's a Green Bay fan.
She's a Packers fan. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to hear a funny story? When I first started dating my wife, she was completely green towards football. And she started to watch football because of me, of course. And she was a Jets fan. Man, at the end of the season, she was like, I watch other games with you, and why the Jets don't move the ball the way the other teams do? So she completely left the Jets, man. So she's a Seahawks fan now.
Oh, the
True
disrespect.
story, man.
But you know what, though? All good. Because they ain't got no dogs on that roster. They ain't got no dogs on that roster. You told her we don't want her to come back. You told her she's sticking to Seahawks.
I told her that, man.
She jumped ship. Yeah, man. The wife. So like we've got 4 kids, bro, and it's crazy because the last time the Jets were good, my first daughter was born, and so the wife and I we met in the military. Both met in the Marine Corps in Pensacola, Florida. She was always a Packers fan. Now what's crazy is she's from Pittsburgh, Oil City, Pennsylvania, right? So her brother's a Pittsburgh fan. Her whole family's like Steelers fans.
Oh wow.
But she was a big fan of Brett Favre when she was growing up. She just loved watching him play, and she just decided, like, yeah,
Me too.
I'm not gonna follow the crowd. Who wasn't a big freaking Brett Favre, bro?
Right.
So she wound up picking. She went against the grain, and it's not like the Steelers weren't a winning organization. They're a historically winning organization, but she chose the Packers. Man, she got a lot of hate for it, but she stuck to her gun. She didn't care. She wanted to be a Packers fan, and she's remained loyal ever since. So when we got married, both of us are diehard football fans. And I wanted, of course, my kids to all be Jets fans, right? And she was like, bullshit. Right. I want them to be Packers fans. And again, both of us competitive. She's a Marine, I'm a Marine. And we agreed, like, okay, how about this? Whichever team is having the better season that particular year gets to claim, the year of the birth gets to claim that kid. Well, like I said before, I got 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
My firstborn, who's 12 years old, is the only other Jets fan in this household, bro. Everybody else wants Packers jersey. Yeah, bro. Like, I gotta say thank you to Darrell Revis and fan and Bart Scott because that's how I was able to get my firstborn. Every other kid, man, has gone to Jessica ever since.
Speaking of Darrell Revis, what do you think about Mr. Sauce?
Bro, Sauce Gardner? All right. So I think Sauce Gardner is a freaking alien, bro. Like, so somebody made a comment or posted something, I think not so long ago, and they were saying, like, oh man, Sauce Gardner is better than Darrell Revis. And of course, you can't do that. You can't do that to this fan base, like, because Darrell Revis is royalty. But I understood where they were coming from, because in terms of physical ability, physical attributes, Sauce Gardner has higher attributes than a Darrell Revis.
He does.
Darrell Revis had a hell of an IQ. The intangibles is what made him great, right?
Yes.
But I think potentially, man, like, you got Sauce Gardner, who has an athletic ability of a Antonio Cromartie, but his work ethic, you know what I'm saying, and his desire to learn could put him in the realm of a Darrell Revis. By the time it's all said and done, man, and again, it's early. It's really early. But he has the ability and I think the mindset to potentially be competing with Darrell Revis as the number 1 defensive back we've ever had on this roster, bro. Like in the Jets organization. So I'm intrigued.
So would you say his first touchdown was the first touchdown against him was against the Browns, or since it was zone, do you put that touchdown on him? Do you not?
I do.
How do you feel about that? Because I've seen mixed emotions and mixed opinions about.
A lot of people are
he
putting
hasn't
it
given
on
up a first touchdown, or he has.
Nope. He did, because at the end of the day, he was on that side of the field. He was the one on Amari Cooper. Yes, it was his zone coverage, and Amari Cooper cut in to the safety in order between the safety and, of course, Sauce. But Sauce never moved, bro. Never moved. He never did anything. So to me, I know it was a miscommunication, but I want to put it on Sauce. I want Sauce to be mad that he has now given up a touchdown in the NFL. He wasn't going to go through his career, bro, and never. It's the NFL. Nobody expected him to go through the NFL never giving up a TD. It was bound to happen. But I think it's a good thing it happened now, because I think his mentality, it's going to piss him off. I know it's going to piss him off, because he wants to be better already. Now that it happened, especially on a busted coverage, it happened, and he got hit with the freaking the TD giving it up. I think that's going to add a little more fire in a guy like Sauce, man. And to me, I put it on Sauce Gardner. And I hope he sees this. I hope he sees it. I put it on Sauce Gardner. I want him mad. I want him angry.
I'm the same way, man. I feel like it was really on Sauce. I really want to see him match up 1-on-1, like in man coverage.
Same here.
You know, in those type of situations. You know what I mean? Here. I think my personal opinion, I think our Jets run zone a little bit too much, and especially going against a patient veteran quarterback like what does Frankie from Flatbush call him? Brisket.
Brisket.
It's going, especially going against a veteran seasoned quarterback. You know, sitting in the zones all day long, man, with good timing or good blocking. Eventually, they're going to find the holes in that zone coverage. And I think once again, our team runs zone just a little bit too much. I think you have to mix it in a little bit and put it on man. I think Reed is definitely a good man coverage cornerback.
Yes.
And Sauce, in my opinion, is a good man coverage cornerback, because if I'm not mistaken, they ran a lot of man in Cincinnati. And that's when you really saw the shutdown capability of Sauce Gardner. So I think they need to just open the playbook up a little more and run a little more man defense.
And I agree, man, because DJ Reed, I think, is a cornerback one easily. And I think Buffalo Jets fan said it perfectly. He stated that if DJ Reed was 2 inches taller, there's no way we can afford him as a Jet. There's no way we can afford him as a Jet. Everybody had him pegged as a slot corner. It was pretty much freaking Coach Saleh and Joe that said, nah, we seen this dude go up against number 1s last year, and he dominated. So people didn't like him because of his freaking height. Cool, easy day. We brought him in. The only reason we got
Right.
DJ Reed is because he wasn't 2 inches taller. That dude is a legitimate number one cornerback in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely, he is. Absolutely.
Sauce Gardner has that hip flex, the ability to match and mirror freaking like opposing wide receivers, and he's fast and he's long, he's lengthy. He's got those long ass alien arms, bro. He's in the perfect position to match up really against any cornerback. I know his only knock was that he struggled in college a little bit with shiftier wide receivers, you know, in the underneath routes. But he's been working on that, obviously, because you've seen him jump those, like not jump those, but like be there when those guys are getting the ball thrown their way, and he's causing incompletions. I mean, again, small sample size, but you can tell it's something that he knew was a weakness coming in, that he was being judged by it, and he's improved in the offseason. I would definitely go man to man with those two
absolutely.
guys.
And being honest, I think you would catch a lot of offense coordinators off guard as well. You know, because everybody knows what Saleh and Ulbrich is going to run. Sunday after Sunday, you know what's coming. You know how to attack it, right? You know, and I think this is where the brilliance or the intelligence side come in at, is when you start to switch it up. So now you're keeping. I've always told people all the time, like, football reminds me of chess. It's basically a game of chess. Who can outthink the other opponent? And when you're predictable, well, it's kind of easy to dominate someone who's predictable. I know what moves you're going to make. So I know how to counter your moves. So I 100%. Think them implementing man more, even if they still want to have their 4-man rush, cool. But at least, you know, increase the man coverage a little bit. You have the guys to do that. And if you don't feel, you know, strong about your free safety, then hell, if you know it's man coverage, just freaking put Bryce Hall in and just let him just run that man coverage, you know, at that free safety spot. You know what I mean? And keep Carter in. And my opinion, I think they just need to run man coverage a little bit more.
A little bit more. Then they bring Quan Alexander in, who we've seen can go ahead and match and mirror running backs and tight ends coming out of the backfield too. Like, so you've got the pieces to actually be able to run a man concept, I think, successfully in terms of the personnel. Why not at least throw it in there every now and again? Just throw in there and surprise, like you said, surprise your opponents, because everybody knows what you're going to do. It doesn't matter. Like, that's been the game plan since the beginning of last year when we had scrubs playing for us. And you haven't adjusted. You got to adjust in this game, man. You have got to adjust. That's why I said before, when it comes to the coaching room, Ulbrich is my biggest concern. But in the same token, I know that Coach Saleh has his hands on it, but I also know that Coach Saleh is not going to dictate what his defensive coordinator and his offensive coordinator does. He's a CEO type of coach where he's going to let those guys run their departments, and he's overseeing everything. He's said it 1,000 times. But I'm sorry, man. Like, maybe Ulbrich doesn't understand the concept quite as well as he thinks he does, because we saw this same concept successful in San Francisco, so we know it can work. But we're not seeing that. I mean, we're into game 2 right now, and again, small sample size, but 2 sacks. 2 sacks. We're 30th right now in the NFL in terms of sacks, but we're the number 2 like highest paid defensive line in the NFL. Like, make it make sense. That math is not math, bro. That math is not math.
Numbers don't lie. Man, I like I said earlier, man, I was expecting more from Carl Lawson and Quentin Williams, especially in week 2. I can understand, you know, week 1, you don't want them to be as aggressive because you don't want to blow past Lamar Jackson. I get that completely. But you're playing the Browns. They don't have Lamar Jackson, man. Like, in my opinion, we should at least walked out with 3 or 4 sacks in that game. Easy.
100%.
You know, but unfortunately we didn't. But I think a lot of eyes are going to be on the defense this week, seeing that Bengals have given up so many sacks.
13
and if
sacks,
we're the team that plays them and can't get pressure on them, man, I think heads are going to start to roll like far as the fans. We're going to be pissed about that.
13 sacks. It's been disgusting. Like, if we don't eat, hey, no problem, Green Bay. It does hurt. I think he's talking about my. It does. I think he's talking about my freaking kids being all Packers fans, minus my oldest, because it's been so long. And it does hurt because my wife talks a lot of crap, bro. Like, she talks. Y'all met her. She talks crap, bro. She is not quiet. So now my daughters and my youngest son, my only son, by the way, I did the reverse of you. $3 finally had my son.
Wow.
He's a Packers fan. She got to claim him too, bro. It does hurt. It does hurt. I ain't gonna lie. But
I can imagine. I was proud because my wife was walking around with Jet shirts, so we go out. And, you know, and that was the first season like that we officially started dating. and she would walk out with me on NFL Sunday. We'll go out and eat and have a few drinks, and she'll have a Jets attire on, and I'm like, yes,
This is
man.
great.
Like maybe a little bit halfway into the season, she was like, so, and being honest, we watched the New England game right after the night game, and Tom Brady was there, of course. And she was like, so she didn't understand football at all at that point, but she understood who was losing and winning, and she could see the difference. She was like, so why can't the Jets move the ball on offense like the New England Patriots do? At that point, I asked for my check. I said, check, please.
All right, we gotta go. We gotta go. It's time to go home. She's asking questions that we don't need to be answering right now out in public.
Yeah, man. So eventually she ended up becoming a Seahawks fan. So yeah, so my house is the oldest is a Saints fan. The next to oldest is a Jets fan, like me. He's the only Jets fan other than myself. And the middle ones, they just not into football at all. And the next to youngest, he's a San Francisco fan.
Oh, bro, that's too much. Wait, hold on. First of all, y'all
my house
offering
is
way
busy.
too much diversity in that house.
My
y'all
house
need to
is
let
busy.
them know it is a Jets/Seahawks household. I wish my kids would come into this house talking about their Texans fans. I don't give a crap that we live in freaking Houston, Texas. You're not coming
You have to
my
pick
house.
one or the other, right?
You got to pick. It's either Jets or Packers. Those are your options. That is it. There's going to be a shade of green in whatever team you choose. Don't bring the Texans into my house, bro. You're a better man than me,
Absolutely,
bro. You're a much better man than me.
Jeremy said he watched your footage, man, your video footage. I'm guessing Twitter,
bro.
Maybe
that was Twitter probably. That was my brother. So the Steelers dude that was sitting there. So like my brother came and sat down and watched the game with me. He was a little upset because he had just lost to the Patriots, bro. And I was upset because I really thought they were going to beat the crap out of the Patriots, and then his special teams just freaking didn't show up. So my brother's also diehard, bro. Real diehard fan. Like he feels wins and losses the way we feel wins and losses. So they lost, bro. He left the living room, sat there in the corner of my freaking office/studio, didn't say crap for the rest of the day, bro. He was just, and it sucks. I've been there. I'm like, bro, it's a problem right now because in our household, like he's 1-2, I think, and like we're 1-1. My wife's 1-1, and I'm like, shit, okay, cool. And he lives down the street from us, and like I said before, he's like us, bro. His whole week has been just sucked. It's just been a bad week for him right now. So that's who you're seeing, Chaos. That was my brother. That was a little upset in the Steelers jersey.
Oh man. Well, Gunny, thanks for joining me, man. I'm not gonna take
thanks for having me, bro.
Any more of your time, man. Very appreciative that you took the time out, man, to do the collaboration with me, man. And you want to give the people your last thoughts
wait a minute.
about tomorrow's game?
Your
expectations?
We need to do the final. Okay, cool. So we got to go ahead and give our thoughts on that. So tomorrow's game, all right? Cincinnati is coming into MetLife, and I know a lot of people have it pegged as going to be a close game, right? But I don't know about you, man. I did my video earlier today about my predictions for it, so this is going to be pretty much the preview of my video, same score and whatnot. But a lot of people are saying it's going to be a close game. But when you watch it, a lot of people are putting a lot of those sacks on the offensive line. But Joe Flacco was holding the ball for an average of 2.9 seconds. 2.9 seconds. He's also trying to do things that he thinks he's like this elite athlete, like he's a Lamar Jackson. He's an athlete, not an elite athlete. And you're seeing him holding onto the ball and trying to make moves with his legs. He's watching the pass rush come his way. So I think it's a 50-50 combination of Joe Burrow freaking out a little bit and the offensive line not being able to hold up. But I think tomorrow, like I said before, if we don't leave there with at least 4 sacks, it's a fail. Even if we won the game and we didn't get at least 4 sacks from the defensive line, I think we've got some questions. I'm going to be concerned about, like, man, this was supposed to be the heartbeat of our defense, and these guys couldn't even get 4 sacks against a very, very scatterbrained Joe Burrow and an offensive line still trying to figure it out. They spent, $70 million this year to get their offensive line right, and right now they're leading the league by far in freaking pressure rate and sacks allowed. So I think because of that matchup, I do believe our guys show up. I do believe the offensive escalation happens because on their defensive side, past the defensive line, not much to be scared about, you know what I'm saying, in the secondary and the linebacker core. Like, when you watch that, I'm like, okay, they played the Dallas Cowboys without their starting quarterback, you know what I'm saying, with Cooper Rush looking semi-Pro Bowl-like. They play the Steelers team right now that really right now are still trying to figure out the quarterback aspect, right? And talking to
Right.
my brother, he thinks even the offensive coordinator may be at fault for a lot of the hesitation and the concerns that they have. So those games were close, and I can respect Coach Salah saying like, "Hey, they're still the AFC champs," and blah blah blah. Like this is coach speak for going to show respect. But they have a lot to figure out, man. And I don't think a week's enough time for them to figure it out. I think we have the ability to go ahead and take another one here tomorrow. New York Jets win the game 31-21. We're going to win by 2 scores. And our defensive line is going to feast. And I think we're also going to officially see a coming out party for Elijah Moore and Brees Hall. That's what I'm predicting for tomorrow. 31-21 New York Jets.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I honestly believe that the game is pretty much predicated on the defense tomorrow. If the defense can shine like we know they can, I think it's an easy win for us. Because I at this point, I'm not questioning the offense. Similar to last season, the last 6 games, we saw Mike LeBouf shine, Zach was shining, offensive line was gelling, and this year we have more weapons, and it's like Joe Flacco and the team are pretty much becoming a unit, a solid unit now. They're gelling together as far as offense. So I'm really not concerned about the offensive side. My concerns are the defense, in particular, the defensive line. So I feel like if the defensive line can show up like we know they can, they have the ability to do it. If the defensive line can shine, we're good. I'm 100% solid on this win. And I actually picked them on my pick and prove sheets twice, actually. So I had my Jets against the Bengals. The only time that I went against them was against the Ravens because I was 60-40 on that one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had us beating the Ravens. I had us beating the Cleveland Browns. I had us losing to the Steelers and the Bengals. But with how things have turned around in terms of what we're seeing with the Steelers right now, they also lost TJ Watt, which I think was a big loss for them. I think that defense, he is the heartbeat. That puts us in an advantage. And you saw it, you know what I'm saying, on Thursday night, you know what I'm saying, without TJ Watt there, like it takes away a lot of their ability to get to the quarterback and create pressure and even slow down the run a little bit. So I now feel better about us playing against the Steelers, but I definitely feel better about us playing the Bengals, just how they've come out of the gates. So they got some figuring out to do, man. So I had us going 2-2 during the stretch of us not having freaking Zach Wilson. Yeah, I think we have a chance at 3-1 now, man. 3-1 is very, very possible. Call me.
And even if we do go 2-2, just like your first of all, your prediction was right on point. The games just kind of switched around a little bit, but your predictions was right on the money. So even if we do go 2-2, in my opinion, without Zach Wilson playing, we go 2-2. Man, that's amazing.
That's a win.
Because being honest, when I saw Zach Wilson in the preseason game, man, and he was just trying to do too much. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
Oh my God.
And he ended up injured. I was like, okay, here we go. I'm like, here we go, man.
Talk about heartbreak. Because I know it wasn't just me. I know every Jets fan watched that game and all of our souls left our bodies. I thought it was an ACL. I was just like, that's an ACL.
Same here.
Contact, made a move. That's a wrap. That's an ACL. God damn it, man. And I was thinking automatically like, all right, we got to go. Okay, so let me see. Jimmy Garoppolo's available. Maybe we can go ahead and bring Jimmy. Do we have the heck to make that work? Bro, my mind went into like G-mode so quick trying to figure out how to at least, you know what I'm saying, salvage the season. But Joe Flacco's come out. Green Bean with the 31-17 Jets, 100%. I like that. I like that a lot.
I love it.
Man. I love that a whole bunch.
Yes, my God, man, I love it. I love it.
Man.
Well, as always, Gunny, man, it's great talking to you, brother. Man, it's great seeing you. And once again, thanks for coming on to the show. Let the people know where they can find you at. I'll put the link in the description. Appreciate enjoy the rest of your evening. But give the people your information.
Yeah, y'all can find me at New York Jet Situation Report. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course YouTube. I try to put content out a couple times a week. I'm trying to get to that point where I'm doing it more daily. I'm long-winded, so it's hard for me to go ahead and do condensed videos, and then I try to edit it for your viewing pleasure. But again, my next video is coming out actually later tonight. I got to just finish editing it, and I'm going to go ahead and post it. My predictions for tomorrow's game. So check it out. Again, New York Jets Situation Report. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, Twitter.
Sweet. Okay, guys. Well, tomorrow's a big day. I'm sure I'll be in Green Bean's feed tomorrow, and even my man, and even Jeremy from Jets Chaos. And once again, man, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate you as always. And let's go out and get this win. And as always, go Jets.
Go Jets. Let's go. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.